The contract was worth $5 billion, and the room was filled with Germany's most powerful executives. Billionaire Daniel Carter smiled confidently as his translator spoke every word with perfect fluency. Everything seemed flawless, until a young waitress serving coffee suddenly froze. Her face turned pale as she accidentally overheard the conversation in German. Trembling, she stepped forward and whispered, "Sir, your translator is lying to you." The room erupted in confusion. Security rushed toward her, executives exchanged nervous glances, and the translator demanded she be removed immediately. But before anyone could drag her away, the waitress translated one sentence herself, and the billionaire's smile vanished instantly. Daniel Carter had built one of America's largest technology companies through intelligence, discipline, and trust. Although he spoke several languages, German had always been his weakest. That was why he relied completely on Victor Hayes, a highly respected translator who had worked beside him for almost 8 years. Victor had attended international meetings, negotiated billion-dollar agreements, and earned Daniel's complete confidence. When Daniel traveled to Berlin to finalize a revolutionary partnership with one of Germany's biggest engineering firms, he believed it would be another successful chapter in his career. The grand conference room overlooked the city skyline, crystal chandeliers reflected against polished marble floors, and every executive wore confident smiles. Cameras were waiting outside because the deal was expected to reshape the global technology market. As negotiations began, Victor translated every sentence with absolute confidence while Daniel nodded in agreement. Everything appeared perfect. Across the room worked Anna Fisher, a 24-year-old waitress studying international law at night while supporting her widowed mother. Fluent in both English and German, Anna quietly served coffee and refreshments while listening to the meeting. At first she ignored the business discussions, but then she noticed something alarming. The German executives repeatedly spoke about equal ownership, shared patents, and long-term cooperation. Yet Victor translated their words completely differently, making it appear as though Daniel was willingly surrendering exclusive rights to his company's most valuable technology. Anna's heartbeat raced. She wondered whether she had misunderstood, but each sentence confirmed the same terrifying truth. Someone was deliberately changing the translation. Unable to stay silent, Anna approached Daniel during a short coffee break. In a trembling voice she whispered, "Sir, please don't sign anything. Your translator isn't telling you the truth." Before Daniel could respond, Victor overheard her and burst into laughter. "She's just a waitress," he sneered. "She doesn't understand billion-dollar negotiations." Security immediately stepped forward to escort Anna away. The German executives looked confused as the room filled with whispers. Just before she reached the door, Anna turned back and translated the last sentence spoken by the lead German executive, word for word. It was completely different from Victor's version. Silence consumed the room. Daniel slowly turned toward Victor. "Translate that sentence again," he ordered. Victor hesitated for the first time in 8 years. Sweat appeared across his forehead as he stumbled over his words. Daniel immediately requested an independent interpreter from the German company. Within minutes, every previous statement was reviewed. The truth was devastating. Victor had secretly altered multiple translations throughout the meeting, attempting to manipulate the agreement so Daniel would unknowingly lose billions in intellectual property while benefiting a rival corporation that had bribed him months earlier. The room exploded with outrage. German executives apologized repeatedly, insisting they had negotiated honestly from the beginning. Daniel realized he had been only seconds away from signing away years of innovation because he had trusted the wrong person. Victor was removed from the conference room as investigators began examining the fraudulent documents. Daniel looked toward Anna, who stood nervously near the exit believing she might still lose her job for interrupting such an important meeting. Instead, Daniel walked across the room, thanked her publicly, and shook her hand before every executive and journalist present. "Today," he said, "the most honest person in this building wasn't sitting at this table. She was serving coffee." The room erupted into applause. Weeks later, Daniel canceled the corrupt agreement and negotiated a fair partnership that benefited both companies equally. He also established an international scholarship program for multilingual students pursuing careers in ethics, diplomacy, and law. Anna became the program's first recipient. She completed her legal education, eventually joining Daniel's company as its Director of International Compliance, ensuring every future negotiation remained transparent and honest. Newspapers around the world celebrated her courage, calling her the waitress who saved a billion-dollar deal. Years later, whenever Daniel spoke to young entrepreneurs, he never began with profits or business strategies. Instead, he told the story of a quiet waitress who risked everything simply because telling the truth mattered more than protecting herself. He reminded audiences that the greatest danger in business isn't competition, it's misplaced trust. And sometimes, the person who changes history isn't the one sitting at the head of the table, but the one brave enough to stand up when everyone else stays silent. As Daniel and Anna stood together years later at the opening of a global ethics institute, he smiled and said, "That day, everyone thought you were just a waitress. I knew you were the reason my company still exists." Anna looked at the crowd and quietly replied, "The truth doesn't need power, it only needs one brave voice." In that moment, everyone understood that fortunes can be rebuilt, companies can recover, but integrity is priceless. One courageous decision by an ordinary young woman became the reason a billionaire never signed away his future, and proved that real heroes often wear the simplest uniforms.